just one thing, really. I think, you're saying about the need to reassure the public and etc. But I think many people would have been very perplexed that this particular man, this terrorist, was granted a one-day exemption to attend this conference. I'm asking you, quite, absolutely in good faith, who would have made that decision?
If I knew the answer, I'd answer you in good faith. I don't know who would make that decision specifically. No, and sorry, the decision wasn't made by the Metropolitan Police.
It wasn't.
No, he wasn't under.
And you just don't know who did it.
He wasn't under supervision of the Metropolitan Police. He was under supervision, I believe, from Staffordshire Police, because that's his home address.
So would it have been the Home Office? Would it have been the prison?
It would have been the police officers who were responsible for looking at the supervision around him. But
they would have been the ones who would have given him a one-day exemption to come into London when he was back. They would have done that.
Yes.
And what is your view on that?
Well, I think I said in my my introduction, as far as anyone could see up until now, he had been complying with all of the conditions of his licence. And there's a wider debate to be had, I fully accept, around the release of prisoners and their reintroduction into society. But if the legislation was complied with, all the regulations were complied with, he was released quite properly back into society. A regime was put around him, and as far as the police were concerned, he was complying with that regime. Part of the regime and part of his reintegration was attendance at this event in London, where I believe he was expected to say a few words about his experiences. And
beggars belief, actually, but anyway.
And we all know what happened. That there clearly are a number of reviews going into what was the regime, what decisions were made, by whom, when, were they the right decisions, and it would be entirely wrong for me to try and involve myself in that and second-guess those inquiries.
I wasn't necessarily saying that you should personally have been involved in that. No. Sorry, you started answering my question by saying you didn't know, but then you said it was the police. It was.
Well, you said who?
Which agency?
Oh, you didn't say which agency with respect. You said who. That was your question.
Okay,
so I don't know who did it.
You understood what I meant when I asked. So basically...
No, I'm sorry.
It was the police.
I don't try to be argumentative, but I didn't understand. You said to me, who? And I said, I don't know who. You said who.
Okay, so it was the police. It was a police decision.
Yes.
Right, okay. Do you think, in retrospect, that was the wrong decision?
I'm not prepared to comment on that.
Why?
Because I don't know the circumstances of how he was complying with these regulations.
Don't you think that if you're trying to reassure the public, they might think it's a bit odd that someone who's in for terrorist charges would somehow be invited to speak at a conference such as this? Did you not even think that that's...
I think what would be wrong would be for someone completely remote from the situation in terms of supervision of this individual to make comment from my position, which might be unhelpful. It is being looked at by a number of different people to see whether the decisions were correct, to see whether or not he was complying properly, and to learn any lessons. I don't think me being drawn into it is going to help particularly, and I'm helpfully reminded by the Deputy Mayor that it would probably be a police and probation joint decision. But again, I don't know who is an individual. Agency-wise, police, probably with the help of probation.
Well, it ended in death, didn't it, in this occasion?
Well, I think I would rather say that the person that killed the two innocent members of the public was the terrorist.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I'd leave it there.
Who had been given by the police a one-day exemption to come into London.
I'd leave it and say the man who did it was a criminal terrorist.
I think you made your point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.